Fantasy Genius back again with another free agent breakdown for the Toilets to Titles Network. Today we're going to be doing the wide receivers and the running backs, which is probably my favorite class this year just because there's so many big names out there. And the running back class, running backs in general, the position is just so undervalued right now, which makes it more exciting to me. So we'll run through the wide receivers first. Obviously, the big three already got taken off the table. Higgins and Pittman were both tagged, and Evans was re-signed to the Bucks. All of those things were things that we thought were going to happen. I mean, Evans has been so steady as a Buck. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. He wants to retire a Buck. And Higgins and Pittman, they just didn't have the money to sign them straight up to get a deal done. So the next two were going to be a little boring because I think they go right back to where they're at. Calvin Ridley should stay in Jacksonville. He had a decent year. He didn't perform well enough to get number one money anywhere else. He might as well go right back to Jacksonville where, he's already got some rhythm going. And then Hollywood Brown, I think he's going to stay in Arizona. I do think that the Cardinals are going to draft Marvin Harrison. But I kind of always have seen Hollywood as a T. Higgins to the Jamar Chase, as a Jalen Waddle to the Tyreek Hill, the secondary guy who's good if he has an alpha male there with him, which Marvin Harrison hands down will be. So I think he stays there. The next five, we're going to change around a little bit. We got Darnell Mooney from the Bears. I could see him going to the Chiefs. They like to pick up these cheap, somewhat proven but not quite proven receivers for Patrick Mahomes to make look good for a year or two. I could see them using him over there. Gabe Davis is an interesting one. I think he could possibly go somewhere like the Ravens. They have Zay Flowers emerged last year, but the rest of the Ravens receivers really didn't do much. Gabe Davis going over there gives him another speedy receiver who, while unproven, has shown the ability to excel in the NFL. So if he could get a little bit more consistent, that could be a dangerous combo with him and Zay Flowers. Curtis Samuel, I think that he could go somewhere like the Dolphins. They really like speed over there, and they need a third receiver behind Hill and Waddle, especially with Waddle's injury. I don't want to say history because he usually ends up coming back the very next week, but he gets knocked around quite a bit. OBJ, I hate this guy, but I think he could go somewhere like Dallas. They, just like the Dolphins, could use another receiver behind their top two. OBJ could even be their second guy. They didn't really have much behind CeeDee Lamb. A couple guys stepped up for a few weeks, but CeeDee Lamb was all they had. Throw in OBJ, still athletic. He still shows that he could, move well. Get him in there, try to win the division twice in a row and the Super Bowl. And the last one is Tyler Boyd. He's from Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh boy. I could see him coming and trying to retire in Pittsburgh, play for a year or two over there. And they, just like most of these teams, could use him behind our top two. So Boyd could end up in Pittsburgh. The running backs. These are fun. All right, so Saquon Barkley, I could see him going somewhere like the Texans. I know they have Singletary, although he's a free agent as well. And I know they still have I forgot his name because he did that bad last year. But Barkley could go in there and be the top guy. He shows that he could still do it. He, did it behind a terrible Giants offensive line this year. I see him going there and being the top guy for a couple of years. Sign him to a 3-year contract. You have the money. You have a rookie quarterback. Let's contend for some Super Bowls. Josh Jacobs, I could see him going somewhere like the Bears. They have, I want to say, a stable of about 4 running backs. All of them are backups. They don't have a single, this is the guy. The Bears are another team with a decent amount of money this year, probably going after a rookie quarterback. Give him a solid running back to help him out, take some of the weight off his shoulders. This is going to be my favorite fit now. Derrick Henry to the Ravens. And as you can see from my background, I'm a big Steelers guy. There's a few Bengals things back there for the fiance. I hate the Ravens with a passion. But even I would be excited to see Derrick Henry behind the offensive line in Baltimore. Those guys, unfortunately, they know what they're doing when it comes to running the ball. Derrick Henry would fit back there like a glove. Pollard, I'd like to see him go somewhere that's a rebuilding team, somewhere like the Panthers. That's where I have him going right now. They could use some running backs back down there. They could use some everything really. And Pollard should be pretty cheap because he did not have a great year. Eckler's another one who should be pretty cheap. I have him here going to the Commanders, another team that doesn't really have a set in stone number one. But him and B-Rob could kind of be a thunder and lightning kind of duo. So that would work out well. I have DeAndre Swift going back to the Eagles, and I have Zach Moss going back to the Colts. I think DeAndre Swift had a good enough year that he should be able to get himself a contract with the team. He excelled. Although all the running backs did do well when they were in, Swift was the one who was the most steady. Zach Moss, I think he'd just kind of be the guy to spell. He didn't have enough to become a number one for anybody, but he did enough that he could spell JT and try to keep JT healthy so that if they get to the playoffs, and that's entirely depending on their quarterback situation, that JT is ready to go and still healthy at that point. J.K. Dobbins is a little bit of a sad one. The dude's had the worst luck in the world as far as injuries. I could see him going somewhere. I have him here for the Bucks. I think that we all know that they have their number one guy, but they also want to spell that guy and make it so that he isn't taking all of the damage throughout the season. Throw in Dobbins. Maybe if he's not playing a full-time role, he could stay healthy a little bit longer. He's shown that he's explosive. We've seen these people come back from Achilles injuries a lot more lately to the Bucks. I can see that. Singletary is an interesting one because he did really well with the Texans. I just don't think he did well enough to be anybody's number one. He could go somewhere like back to Buffalo to have a 1-2 combo up there with James Cook. But if they take Barkley, I don't see Singletary re-signing with the Texans. So I have him going to the Bills here. Bills need to retool and to try to get the division or keep the division, I suppose, because they did sneak it in there. But the Dolphins are coming, so I think Singletary to spell James Cook would be a good combo there. I was going to do an entire episode on defensive players as well, but I'm not as comfortable on the defensive side of the ball. It would take me a while. I will give my favorite pick for the defense, and that's going to be Chris Jones to the Texans. These guys have the money. They have the want. They have the need. They have a rookie quarterback. Go put Chris Jones on the other side of the line as Will Anderson Jr., and that division's theirs. Just hands down. You could just give them the trophy. They're taking the division. They're possibly going to the Super Bowl. They have enough money, and that would give them enough talent on that side of the ball. It'd be theirs. So if you guys want to get in on the talks, we have Gilded is where we chat all day long, football all day. And if you don't want to write all that out, email us at toilsandtitles.com. We'll send it to you. And we'll see you next time. Hope you guys have a good day.